Hello there. Olatunji Shobodu is my name. Welcome to Leadership in 30 Minutes. This is Leadership in 30 Minutes coming to you by Emmett Leadership Academy. At Emmett Leadership Academy, we nurture leaders based on truth. We nurture leaders based on truth. Strong leaders are not always authentic leaders. Most strong leaders are hypocrites masquerading as strong and authentic leaders. That would appear to be like a paradox. Why call them strong when in fact they have such huge shortcomings as hypocrisy? Can you truly say that a leader is strong if the leader is a hypocrite? That's what we're looking at today for the next couple of minutes. And I'd invite you to come with me and explore this very important dimension of leadership. A hypocrite as a leader cannot bode well for any follower. Hypocrite leaders are not true leaders. They are not good leaders. But let me surprise you, they do get results. They do get results. So the fact that a leader gets results does not mean that the leader is authentic, but it could mean that in some sense, the leader is strong. All right? It would be difficult to argue that a leader who gets results is not strong. Indeed, a leader who gets good, strong results, you can't argue to most people that this leader is simply a hypocrite. But they exist all over the place. Strong, get results, but they're hypocrites. Now, let me say that the key is to address the issue of what makes a strong leader. Why would we say that this leader is strong? Why? All right. And if we can address that, then we can put that strong or the strength of the leader in proper context. And it may not surprise you, therefore, that a strong leader can be a hypocrite. Our tradition here is to draw from that book of wisdom, the Bible, because we nurture leaders based on truth. And that's the right way to go. That's the right way to go. Now, Pharisees were a group of leaders, all right, many years ago. They probably still exist today. And what was on, they were understood to be strong leaders. They were understood to have very executive presence, if you like. All right. They were understood to be forceful people. All right. They were very insistent. They put out themselves as people who knew the laws. They were the leaders of the time. All right. Respected in quotes, more because of their authority and their reliance on the use of their authority, and not so much because of their influence. People were afraid of them, as they are some followers are afraid of their leaders today. They were afraid of them, and not because of anything, but for the power or the authority that they commanded, that had been put in their hands, and the way they threw themselves around. They were people who relied on their authority to get people, to force people to do their bidding. And that's how they get results. That's their mode of operation. That's their mode of operation. Are they strong? They were strong leaders for sure. Pharisees were strong leaders. People dreaded them. All right, they dreaded them. There were people who were strong on compliance. There were people who were strong on compliance. There were people who were strong as teachers because they had command of the rules, the laws at the time. And they would insist on them. They would insist on them, irrespective. So there were compliance people. There were the people who would go to any length, all right, to pay tithe even on the produce of their garden, backyard garden. In Matthew 23, Jesus himself acknowledged that. He said, look, you guys were very meticulous about, paying your tithes. On what? Not on large farms, but on even the smallest garden. Okay, so they will account for their produce and they would ensure that they pay tithes. Pretty strong people. They still exist today. I call them compliance, enforcers. They insist on compliance. They make it look as if, it's about the rules. It's about keeping the rules, when in fact, it's just about themselves and how they will project themselves, how, what they do will add to them. So they are strong leaders. They are strong in their knowledge of the policies. They are strong in their skill base. They know what to do. They have a sense. They are very skilled. All right. They are strong in the sense that they have experience on this job. They've been around for long. Okay. They are strong because they would go to any length to make people follow them, do their bidding. And through them, they get results. So they are strong because they show results. The question is, one, how do they get the results? Two, what kind of results do they bring to the table? And those are very important factors to distinguish leaders. Otherwise, we may misrepresent bad leaders as good leaders. We may misrepresent bad leaders as good leaders, as we often do. Okay, now, so how do they get the results? They get the results by using their authority. There are people who have a larger than life, stature, because they use their authority, they throw their weight around, they want you to know who is in charge. By force, they make demands of you to comply. They put their knowledge in your face. They put their experience in your face. They want you to respect that. They demand respect. They want you to respect that. Look, I've been around here. When did you join? They want you to acknowledge their views over and above your own views. No matter how, dated what they know is, no matter how seemingly at times corrupted their knowledge is. They are strong. They are strong on procedures. They are strong on this is the way we have been doing it. They are strong because they are self-centered. They are strong because they are mindful of their personalities, of their dressing, of their courage, and all of that. So you see more about all of that. That makes it look as if, yes, these are strong leaders. But when the chips are down and we take a closer look, we understand that they are really weak not strong. Why? They are strong on the wrong things. They are strong on the wrong things. If you look at that reference in 23 and verse 15, we are told about their approach to work. They go to great lengths to convert people to be like them, to follow them, to work with them to get results. But in the end, they make those people 10 times worse than themselves. Why is that the case? You would say, let me surprise you. Strong leaders, hypocrite leaders, they reproduce themselves as well. It's not just good leaders, true leaders that reproduce themselves or that produce successors. Bad leaders also reproduce, all right, successors. You must have heard that a good tree will produce a good fruit. And a bad tree will produce a bad fruit. So a bad tree does produce fruits. The fact that the tree is bad does not mean that it will have no fruit. A bad tree can be fruitful. A lot of people need to hear that. So bad leaders masquerading, misrepresenting themselves as good leaders, misleading people into thinking that they are good leaders. They produce after themselves. They produce after themselves. Like seeds, they produce after themselves. Interestingly, like seeds, they produce far worse people than themselves, just as good leaders produce people who are more capable than themselves. And why is it that the good leader produces people who are more capable than himself or herself? Because the beneficiaries of truly good leadership take from the leader, while the leader also helps them to develop what they have in themselves. So they are benefiting in two dimensions. The leader focuses, identifies the uniqueness in them, the gifts that they have, the skills that they have, helps them to further develop them. And the leader adds his own capabilities, his own skills to what they have. So they come through better than the leader, more capable than the leader. But in the case of the so-called strong leader, who's a hypocrite, he also reproduces himself and reproduces hypocrisy in the people who are following him. Now, their hypocrisy will be times 10. Will be times 10. It was something that Jesus was lamenting about. And we've seen some of this around. You see it around. This is not something that is dated. This is something that happens. If you are knowledgeable enough to understand the kind of strength that your leader commands, that is strength that is really weakness, that is strength that is not useful, all right, for the purpose, for the true purpose of leadership, you would see what the leader has done to those who are following. And in fact, if you are following a leader, every follower should listen to what I'm saying here, because you may have put yourself under leadership that is destructive. You may have put yourself under leadership that is destructive. What's wrong? They focus on the wrong things. Now, when Jesus was even saying, Jesus wasn't commending them when he said to these so-called knowledgeable, so-called larger than life leaders, when he said to them that, you go to great lengths, all right, to pay tithe on the produce in your gardens. He said, but you neglect the weightier matters of the law. So these are people who cherry pick. All right. So people will say about them, wow, those guys don't joke with compliance. Those guys don't joke with They don't violate the rules. Yes, on the face of it, they make it look like that. But in reality, compliance is not the most important thing for leadership. No. Of the real priorities of leadership, it should be the least. So these guys were focusing on the wrong things. All right? But it was the easiest thing for them to do. It was something that will project their power and authority. It wasn't as though it was the best thing to help to nurture their people. What were the other things that they played down on, that they didn't emphasize, yet their priority factors? Fairness and justice, number one. It's number one as far as leadership is concerned. Fairness and justice. Fairness and justice. And that's not something very easy for any leader to do. Number two is forbearance. You might call it mercy in the sense of, religion, or if I was preaching. But it's forbearance, is extending understanding to the people that you are leading. The understanding being that they are not perfect, they're going to make mistakes, but in their sincere attempts to please you, to live up to your expectations as a leader, they would make mistakes. And that should be fine with you. That shouldn't be something that, you shout through the roof about, because the process of change is a process of improvement. It's a process of acting, and at times missing it, acting, learning from it, perfecting. That's how it works. So a leader must be able to forbear. And the third priority is diligence, is faithfulness. All right. So it is possible for you to even emphasize compliance, yet you are not diligent. And many of those leaders are not diligent. There are leaders who will quote the rules for you, who would insist that, look, if you violate it, they're going to deal with you. However, they don't comply. And they would always have a reason, an excuse, when they are found in that situation. But when others are found, they will hit hard on others. They will hit hard on others. So they are strong, but they are hypocrites. Now, we are called to observe certain things about them. What's the problem with hypocrites? Is that they make demands on you that they do not submit to, that they don't comply with, that they do not respect. The rules are only for you. The rules are not for them. They would always have a reason why they violate the rules. And if you raise an issue, they make you know that they're the ones calling the shots. They make you know that they are the ones calling the shots. So let me reel out a couple of things for you. Hypocrite leaders or strong leaders are commonly hypocrite leaders because they are strong but blind. They are regarded as blind guides who can only lead others into a ditch. I mean, they are blind guys who will emphasize compliance and make it look as if it's the most important thing, when in fact it's the least important thing. There are people who it was said about them that they falter. And they falter because they don't understand the spirit of the compliance, of the rules that they are demanding compliance with. They take the rules as given. They uphold what is called the letter of the rule, not the spirit of it. And so they lose the essence, they lose the power. That's why they are quick to observe people doing the wrong thing. And then they rush out and say, well, this is what the rules have said. you need to discipline them, yet they are not disciplined. First, they are not following the rules. Secondly, they don't have a moral justification, therefore, to even enforce the rules. And thirdly, they misinterpret the rules because they would rather help somebody else than help people following them who are in very difficult situations. All right, who are in very difficult situations. We know that commonly you would see them complaining that Jesus was healing somebody on the Sabbath. And they will quote, the law says the Sabbath is for the rest. Nobody should heal anybody on the Sabbath. Let the person come back tomorrow. And Jesus said to them, wow, but it's okay that a full-bodied person should come back tomorrow. But you, when you are taking your animals out on Saturday to drink water, walking them around, if they fell into a ditch, you will bring them out. So you can help your animal on the Sabbath, but you can't help a full-bodied person on the Sabbath. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. They are strong leaders. They will quote the law. And they will quote the letter of the law is correct. They will quote the policy. In your corporate settings, they do it. In businesses, we have seen it. We see it again and again. But is that the spirit behind the regulation, the policy? No. You can't have people who are following you in problems and then they need help. Everybody knows that this situation is dicey and you are busy quoting some funny, company policies. Instead of taking up the matter, going to the policymakers, making a case for your person and getting help that is required. That is true strength as a leader. The strength is not in you quoting something. Yes, it is so written, but you are holding on to the letter and purposely so, or maybe even out of ignorance, to the detriment of your person. And the same people, you want them to submit to you. You want them to accept that. They can't count on you to help them. So they are strong, but they are burdensome. They place a lot of weight on their people. And they will not carry the same weights themselves. They are strong, but they are not smart. They are strong, but they are not smart. Why are they not smart? They misplace efforts and priorities. They are majoring on the minor and vice versa. They spend a lot of resources trying to achieve something very basic and they make a lot of noise about it. That's why he was saying in that Matthew 23:15, he said, you go to great lengths to convert people. But at the end, you make them 10 times worse than yourself. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You go to great lengths to convert just one person. So they don't know how to use resources. They are not mindful of efficiencies. They are not smart leaders. They're strong. They are not smart. They're strong. They are not smart. They are deceitful. They are deceitful. Hypocrites are deceitful. For you to be asking me to comply with something and be quoting the basis for your demand for compliance, and you are not doing it, that's deceit. That's deceit. They make it look as if it's all about the organization or it's all about, it's for your own good, whereas it's really for their own good. They want to be seen, to be upholding the policies, to be compliant. They project themselves as though they are doing what is right, when in fact, it's all about them. It's all about, putting themselves forward as the ones who are really advancing the cause of the organization. It's all about themselves. It's all about themselves. They are pretenders. They're strong without empathy. They have no feelings. And they are envious. They are insecure. That's why they rely heavily on their authority. As leaders, they are insecure. I mean, you can imagine. You have seen it. You see a strong leader who is insecure. Yes, because he's a hypocrite. If you are authentic, if you're a good leader, there's nothing to feel insecure about. There is absolutely nothing to feel insecure about. If you are selfless, if you are all about service, if you are ready to make a sacrifice, there is nothing to be insecure about. Many of those strong leaders will not sacrifice for anybody. They won't. They won't sacrifice for anybody. They are envious of others when they see other leaders doing well. In fact, they are envious of their followers as well. When they see some of their followers pulling their weights or becoming people of influence within their team, when they see that there are people who are showing, the attributes of true leadership within their team, they will move against them. They will create circumstances to make it look as though those people are undermining and trying to undermine their authority. Insecurity in their hypocrisy. Insecurity in their hypocrisy. So they are truly weak. In reality, they are not strong. They're truly weak. In reality, they're not strong. I said earlier on, when you look at it, what do they produce? They produce people like themselves, hypocrites like themselves. But more importantly, they are more destructive. Their strength is destructive in nature because they produce people who are 10 times worse than themselves. You see, they are destroying lives, they're not building lives. They have results because they have successors. But are those the successors that leaders are expected to produce? No. Are those the results that it can be celebrated or should be celebrated? No. So it is true they're strong. It is true that they get results, but they are not desirable results. They are not results that we desire. We're not looking for them to produce people who will, act like themselves, worse than themselves, no matter how much money they help the organization to make. I remember in the days of Jack Welch, when targets are given to you, they not only celebrate, they are not just interested in the numbers that you delivered, they are also very interested in how you delivered. If you went contrary, if you engaged untoward practices, if you were fraudulent in any way in your quest to produce the results, you would not be celebrated. No matter how huge the results were, no matter what it added to the company. Instead, you'll be shown the way out. You'll be shown the way out. They didn't want leaders who were strong in the sense of bringing the numbers, but end up having dysfunctional behavior in the sense of being hypocrites. Because hypocrites can produce numbers. But the worst part of that is that they will produce people who are 10 times worse than themselves. You can't build an organization on those kinds of people. You can't. In the medium term, let alone in the long term. You are setting up the organization for destruction. So their strength is weakness in reality. They are weak in the true sense of it. They are not strong leaders. You can't be a hypocrite and be a strong leader. And there are many hypocrite leaders. Many hypocrite leaders. They are strong, but they are foolish. They are foolish because ultimately they are wearied by their labor. It always comes back to that. They end up becoming frustrated because you can't keep exerting far more energy to accomplish certain goals than is required. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And that's what a foolish person will do. When you have your priorities mixed up, ultimately it will catch up with you in that you would not be able to produce the kinds of results that are expected of you. And we have seen that they are destructive. We have seen that they are selfish and without purpose. They're selfish, self-centered, and without purpose. Why strong leaders are hypocrites? The question is, can you say a strong leader is a hypocrite? It appears that is inconsistent. No, it's not. You can be a strong leader, but and still be a hypocrite in the sense that your strength is not the one that is relevant for the function if it must be done properly. Those who are truly strong as leaders, strong in the sense of having the capacity to sacrifice, having the capacity to uphold fairness, having the capacity to pursue forbearance, having the capacity to remain diligent and faithful to their true calling. They are the ones who are truly strong. And they can't be hypocrites. They are typically not hypocrites. And I'm going to close today by saying that this is one of the areas where many leaders fail. If you must be true to yourself, ask yourself, how authentic are you? And someday I'm going to speak about what it takes to be an authentic leader and to do away with hypocrisy. But if you are interested, there's one of my videos on my YouTube site where I spoke about, I gave a session some time ago titled Haunted by Hypocrisy. Haunted by Hypocrisy. And there you would find, I speak to the subject matter, of the dimensions of hypocrisy in leadership and how leaders can avoid, what appears to be a trap that many, many leaders fall into. And once you are caught up in that trap, you are not doing leadership right. And the results you are getting are not the results that we desire. They are not the results that we desire. They are not the true results of leadership. All right? They are not results that can be celebrated. And hopefully, you won't stay there for long. But this session isn't so much for leaders only, it's also for followers. So that perhaps you don't understand, many followers don't understand that it is their responsibility to choose the leader they want to follow. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility. You can choose who to follow and who not to follow. Because whoever you choose to follow, whoever you submit to, will shape who you become, the kind of leader you become, and would have played a very instructive role in determining your future. It's up to you. It's up to you. So when you listen to this kind of discussion, you understand what to look out for to determine whether that person you are following, you should be following them. To know the effect that submitting yourself to one leader or the other will have on you. I often say many people go through organizations thinking that they are the same, not knowing that every organization will change you, will have an effect on you. And if you're not careful, it will change you into what you don't like. And some people now find out, I never used to be like this. It is true. But you are going through the organization not mindful that the interactions that you're having with people and the rules, the culture that you're submitting yourself to is having an effect on your personality and your character. And because you have not been, observant, and you haven't been intentional, you have allowed yourself to be molded into what now you do not like. So it's important for you to know who, when a leader is truly strong, not when a leader is posing to be strong. Because strength is of varying, natures. And some are strong, but they are hypocrites. While others are truly strong and they are authentic. That's the program for today. Leadership in 30 minutes. And we have been speaking on why strong leaders are hypocrites. I hope that you have taken away something today. Please join me. Next broadcast is on Monday, Leadership Monday. I deliver yet another nugget to help you do leadership right. Once again, I always like to emphasize that these discussions on leadership are not just about my experience, which, by the way, is in excess of 30 years, cutting across, corporates, cutting across small business, cutting across even the church, if you like. But these discussions are founded on truth. We nurture leaders based on truth. And no foundation is stronger. And truth is found in the Word of God. Let me invite you, while we are still at it, while I still have your attention, let me invite you to Parables for Profit series. I began this series, it's a 10-day series yesterday. And what I'm trying to do is to show how you can resource your growth and the pursuit of your goals and success, leveraging the principles in the parables of Christ. The principles in the parables of Christ. We have forgotten them. We listen to them as stories, when in fact they are stories, but there is power wrapped in them. There is power wrapped in them. Every principle exposes at least one core principle of life. Every parable exposes at least one core principle of life. And some of them expose more than one. And you are supposed to know that. You are supposed to dig deep, to lay hold on those principles, because the surest way to succeed in life is through the application of principles. Principles always work. If you understand principles, you commit yourself to them, you act on them, you would always get results. Principles are like 3 times 3. 3 times 3 would always be 9. No matter what you say, 3 times 3 is established. It will always be 9. As long as you're counting 3, you're counting 3, you're counting 3 in 3 places, and you know the rules about how to add up, you are going to arrive at 9. That's how powerful principles are. That's how powerful principles are. But we've neglected that. So it's free. Parables for profit, or if you like, parables for your profiting, is a prelude to a major adventure, that I'm inviting you to undertake with me on the 38 parables of Jesus. And the premise is, if you understand each of them, You understand the principle behind them. You commit to begin to use them in the things you do on a daily basis. You are guided by them. You have set yourself up to move to a new trajectory of life. You have set yourself up to take greater control of situations and to get better quality outcomes. Because in the end, the outcomes that you get, you decide on them. It's based on what you know. It's based on what you practice. So join me. The sessions you can, I stream also to my channel. So you can look at, we started yesterday, you can look at the session, that we held yesterday. Yesterday was an opening session, preparatory. The next 9 days will be looking at how to use those principles in the area of career growth in 9 areas: career growth, business growth, relationship building, leadership, character development, managing finances, managing your investments, healthy living, and finally, supernatural living. Those are the 9 priority areas, of everyone. And principles are relevant in all of those areas. Enough said. And if you want to participate as a VIP, join us this evening. And you will find out how to participate. The VIPs spend more time with me. They're able to ask questions and to get answers live at the session. So that's it for today. I hope you have subscribed to the channel, so that if you have found today's broadcast useful, if you subscribe, you'll be notified. So every time you get notification that a broadcast is going to happen, and so you would not miss these sessions. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and set yourself up. And please also, if you have comments, go ahead and put your comments. I'd like feedback. If there are, aspects that you want me to throw more light on, or there are areas of leadership that you want me to speak specifically on, you can express that, and we'll try to factor that into our schedule. That's why we're here, committed to nurturing leaders based on truth. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.